Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
I'm here today on behalf of military families of every branch and rank. We ask that you act on our testimony and ensure military families receive safe, habitable, and functional housing and a better, more accountable way to resolve problems that arise. I first became aware of the crisis-level military housing issues at Keesler Air Force Base, where termites fell out of light fixtures into our beds. During my 2 years of research and advocacy, I received hundreds of reports from military families of mold growth, rodent and pest infestations, moisture intrusion, lead and asbestos exposures, radon concerns, base contamination, and cancer clusters in their housing. I have felt the helplessness of a fellow Marine Corps spouse as she held her new baby and sobbed while we stood under a collapsing, moldy ceiling in her home at Camp Lejeune. I listened in horror as families at Camp Pendleton told of mice eating through pacifiers in their babies' cribs and electrical outlets catching fire due to wiring issues. Until recent media reports and today's hearing, our efforts to fight for safe housing were too often met with intimidation, personal attacks, and strategic attempts to discredit us and silence our voices. We are appalled by this response. Military families understand that quality housing does not mean entitlement to elegant mansions. We simply ask for homes free of mold, pest, lead, and other hazards.
Mold was growing out of the wall of our shower. When Corvius Maintenance came to address our work order for this, they told us, and this is a direct quote, "Let the mold just fall out."
The utility room in our house was also my children's playroom where they played daily. In the utility room, I moved their small card table that was leaning up against the wall. The wall was solid black. The symptoms we had included constant sore throats, nosebleeds, brain fog, blurred vision, numbness, fatigue, debilitating headaches. Even the 4-year-olds complained daily of these headaches along with dizziness. Knowing headaches are not normal for a child of that age, I was concerned they may have cancer.
Yeah, he loves the troops. All the Republicans, they love us. They love the troops that we love. They love their veterans. They love us, yeah. And they love babies too, right? They love babies. What do they love more than babies? The military, right? They love the military. But it's nice to know that nothing's changed in the military since I served. You know, you like a consistent military that intimidates people who tell the truth about the circumstances under which they serve. You know, I'm so glad that the base commanders and the colonels and the squadron leaders and all this stuff, that they haven't changed in 40 years. I love consistency. It's just so reliable. And he's going to take money out of the military construction budget so that he can build his stupid wall. And idiot boy Lindsey Graham, kids are better off with a wall than they are with schools.
In terms of getting those funds, though, through this emergency action, there's about $3.6 billion of it that could come from military construction efforts. Including construction of a middle school in Kentucky, housing for military families, improvements for bases like Camp Pendleton and Hanscom Air Force Base. Aren't you concerned that some of these projects that were part of legislation that you helped approve in Congress are now going to possibly be cut out?
Well, the president will have to make a decision where to get the money. Let's just say for a moment that he took some money out of the military construction budget.
Yeah, let's say.
I would say it's better for the middle school kids in Kentucky to have a secure border. We'll get them the school they need.
When?
But right now, we got a national emergency on our hands. Opioid addiction is going through the roof in this country. Thousands of Americans died last year and dying this year because we can't control the flow of drugs into this country, and all of it's coming across the border. So
Through
the
ports
dangers
of entry,
presented by a
according to
broken border,
the
to
Customs
me,
and Border Patrol, though. But
both. It's both. It's not just one. For every one we get, God knows how much we miss.
You're insane. You know that? You're insane. These freaking cartels are billion-dollar businesses. And if you're saying that you don't know who owns these billion-dollar businesses, you're full of crap. Because a lot of the people that own these businesses are our dictators. They're our man in Colombia, or they're our man in Panama, or they're our man in Venezuela, or they're our man in freaking Honduras. So please give me a break. The amount of weapons that go into those countries that they don't have in their countries, but somehow, just appear in their countries is really pretty legendary. The drugs come through the port of entry. You have hacked away at Obamacare, so much so that people don't have the ability to pay for rehabilitation when they've hit rock bottom or when they know it's time or I'll die. You have taken away the choice to live. You know, this is just so insane. They are just the craziest mofos ever. And why? Because they know that if they peel off of the Trump train or the whatever you want to call that thing, then they will be a target. Trump will make an example of them. And they're terrified. They're cowards. They're lily-livered cowards. They're lamos, man. They don't have the conviction or the courage it takes to lead or represent their state, their district, whatever it is. It's so sad. It's so amazing how corrupt this government has become. You thought we had corruption when, W cherry-picked, aluminum tubes and said, and Colin Powell sullied his reputation and sat at the United Nations holding up a little vial and said, this is anthrax, and we got weapons of mass destruction, and blah, 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 and we deployed to freaking Iraq, and it turned out they were unarmed. You thought we had problems? Well, you haven't seen nothing yet. The president's going to deploy the military inside the country. He already has. You haven't seen jack crap. You don't know what it's like. You watch the military channel or you watch these documentaries and you think, oh, that only happens over there. But over there is over here now. Because we're infested with this dictator, this autocrat, this loser, this wannabe, never will be. This has been, never was. Such a sad, sad situation. And you could tell as you hear the elites, as you hear them line up one after another supporting him, that they don't want to be the one who's made the example of. They don't want to be Khodorkovsky in Russia. They don't want to be, some rich guy in Spain. They don't want to be, some rich guy in Italy that went against Mussolini. They don't want to be some guy in Panama who had it all, but just said that there's something wrong with Noriega's a pineapple face. They don't want to be that guy. Because dictators always make an example of somebody who was loyal and then turned on them because they couldn't take the amount of pain and abuse that was inflicted on their country. And Lindsey Graham certainly ain't going to be that guy. He is disgusting. They are grotesque. They are literally violent. They're just violative. They're pathetic. What do you mean? Oh. No, that's Fox News is sitting there saying there's a coup. It's a coup. Everything is a coup. To undo an autocrat, to undo a dictator, it has to be a coup. We have to be involved in a coup. McCabe was involved in a coup. James Comey was involved in a coup. It was all, I don't know if you saw the 60 Minutes. Did you see Jill McCabe, Andrew McCabe's wife? She's a pediatric emergency physician, a pediatric emergency room physician who decided to try and help her community by running for the state legislature in 2015. That was over in 2015, and she went back to be a pediatric emergency room doctor. She never knew the Clintons. She never met the Clintons. She had no idea what the hell Donald Trump was talking about with Andy McCabe and the Clintons. She was done trying to run for her state legislature as a pediatric physician, emergency room physician in 2015, and the Clinton email investigation hadn't even begun yet. It's ridiculous. They are lying sacks of crap. And Lindsey Graham is a coward.
A discussion of the 25th Amendment was simply Rod raised the issue and discussed it with me in the context of thinking about how many other cabinet officials might support such an effort.
Rosenstein was actually openly talking about whether there was a majority of the cabinet who would vote to remove the president.
That's correct. Counting votes or possible votes.
What seemed to be coursing through the mind of the Deputy Attorney General was getting rid of the President of the United States.
Well,
one way or another.
I can't confirm that, but what I can say is the Deputy Attorney General was definitely very concerned about the President, about his capacity, and about his intent at that point in time.
How did he bring up the idea of the 25th Amendment to you?
Honestly, I don't remember. It was just another kind of topic that he jumped to in the midst of a wide-ranging conversation.
Seriously? I mean, just another topic?
Yeah.
Senator, that's a tremendous allegation to make. Have you ever asked Rod Rosenstein if, in fact, that conversation happened?
Well, he's publicly denied it, but the whole point of Congress existing is to provide oversight of the executive branch. So through good reporting by 60 Minutes, there's an allegation by the acting FBI director at the time that the Deputy Attorney General was basically trying to do an administrative coup, take the president down through the 25th Amendment process. The Deputy Attorney General denies it. So I promise your viewers the following, that we will have a hearing about who's telling the truth, what actually happened. Mr. Cabe, you remember, was dismissed from the FBI for leaking information to the press, so you got to remember the source here.
You are a vile, spineless ferret. And that's an insult to spineless ferrets because they're adorable. That is so typical of what goes on at the tippy top when you have an insane man in charge of the most awesome military in the world, in charge of the richest nation in the world's treasury, the dollars, okay? And you're allowing him to reprogram that money away from middle schools in Kentucky, military base housing, which is just... It's full of lead and asbestos and mold and faulty wiring and rodents and termites falling from the ceiling. But we need a stinking wall so the president can win in 2020. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, Lindsay, you better have those freaking hearings. You better have them. And you better call McCabe. And you better call Comey back. And you better call Rod. Because Rod put out some really parsed statement over the weekend saying he never authorized a wiretap. Well, we know that because we know that the counsel at the Justice Department said we weren't there yet. So we know it wasn't authorized. Oh, my God. This is getting so out of control, so off the rails. You know, if you think that you're struggling now, just wait, man. Just do your taxes. Do your taxes. Have a look-see. Experience it up close and personal on your own kitchen table at your own household. Go ahead. Run the numbers. Find out how much you were ripped up so that he could transfer the wealth to the elites who would be eternally grateful and back him through whatever the hell he does, including deploy the military within the United States of America. You want to know what it looks like? This is what it starts like. I told you. You watch for an enabling act. You watch for... I thought he was too lazy. But apparently he's got his henchmen doing the dirty work, so he's playing golf. Today is day 3 of golf during the national emergency. They have no shame. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.